Hello everyone, my project is Pet Feeder. The IoT Based Pet Feeder is a project aimed at finding new ways to feed a pet remotely and automatically. The project is made up for four main components: the hardware, a mobile application to control the hardware, a web server to connect the hardware within the mobile application, and a Google Assistant. The project has three main features: pours the food in the container when the button is pressed on the app, pours the food in the container when tells the specific command to the Google Assistant, provides sensor data about the food level inside the food container. My main motivation when I was creating this project is to create something useful and required for a great amount of human. Nowadays, most of the people wants a furry friend, thus adopt a pet, and nowadays, most of the people spend their lives outside of their houses. In the meantime, their pets are staying home alone, and sometimes they can't predict how long they are going to stay outside. Thus, these pets might waiting hungry. My project helps users to find their pet whenever they want and wherever they are with the help of a button. Also, they can check if the container is empty or there is necessary amount of food. I made a simple diagram that demonstrates my hardware connection. The ESP8266 is connected to the power supply via micro USB cable. I connected my servo motor to the 3v3, GND and D5 ports of ESP8266 and connected my sensor to the 3v3, D6, D7 and GND ports of ESP8266. After I connected the wires, I made a setup for my project, which I'm going to demonstrate next slides. But first, I'm gonna talk a little bit about my hardware characteristics. The ESP8266 is a microcontroller that will connect to IFTTT servers via Wi-Fi. Servo motor is a simple motor that will open the gate for food to pour. Ultrasonic sensor is a sensor which calculates the food amount in the container, and Google Assistant enabled smartphone is also necessary for this project. The design is before I set up, I just prepared a design for my project. I divide the container with a one block in the middle. The block is controlled by the servo motor. When the servo motor spins, the block opens up for 50 degrees and create enough space to pour the food. As you can see, since the user will add the food from the top, I place the ultrasonic sensor to the top of the setup. Therefore, the ultrasonic sensor will calculate the food percentage starting from the block in the middle to the top of the setup. I taped the ESP8266 to the back of the setup so the wires will reach to the necessary points and the ESP8266 were not visible. The bottom, I open a gate for food to pour to the pet's food bowl, as you can see in here. For the code, I used Arduino IDE as an environment, and I included some libraries shown below. These libraries are used to provide for hardware devices I use for my project. Also, it provides some libraries for Blink app. After I included the libraries, I set up Node MCU. I create 8 virtual pins and attach them to the servo motor and ultrasonic sensor. I defined a function for servo motor to slide 50 degrees angle and wait there for 5 seconds before close. The button which calls this function is attached to the V1 pin. I have a slider for servo motor which gives user the ability to setting delay time and degree manually. For the ultrasonic sensor, I calculated the length of the container, which is 12 centimeters, starting from the block to top. So I made a basic calculation for converting distance to percentage. I put 3 LED lights in the Blink app. LED lights color are red, orange, and green, and they run due to the percentage of the food in the container. So my mobile application, after I setting up the hardware and completing the code, I started working on the Blink app. My Blink application interface shown in the image. The button on the top is for servo motor to slide 50 degrees angle and wait there for 5 seconds before close. The slider is for servo motor, which gives user to the ability to setting delay time and degree manually. The LCD shows the percentage of the food in the container, and the graphs below also shows the same value. There is a one button for the starting ultrasonic sensor, and there are 3 LEDs for lights up due to percentage of the food in the container. This is my project demo.
Hello everyone, my project is Pet Feeder. For this project, I'm using ESP8266, a servo motor, and a sensor. I also use a Google Assistant and a Blink app. In my Blink app, I have a one button and one slider for controlling the servo motor, and a button for sensor, which calculates the percentage of the food and just prints it out in the LED and the graph here. So the slider is for setting the time and angle manually. So like it goes up to 90 degrees, like this, and then you can just set the angle, and also you can just set your time, because my button and my Google Assistant command just opens up the gate 45 degrees and then stays there for 5 seconds. So the slider is just let the user open up the gate as long as they want and as far as they want to control. So since the button and the Google Assistant command do the same thing, I'm just gonna use the Google Assistant command to show you the thing. My Google Assistant understands 2 commands. One of them is feed Charlie, which is my dog's name, and the other one is feed my pet. So feed my pet.
Got it. Feeding now.
So as I said before, it opens up the gate 45 degrees and then stays there for 5 seconds and then closes that. So if I just pour some food here, and when I go back to my Blink app, I can just click this button to recalculate the percentage. Now it have 17 percentage food in it. And now go back to my Google Assistant and feed Charlie.
Got it. Feeding.
So that is close. Thank you for listening. Feed Charlie. Hello everyone.
One of the limitations of this project was to create a useful setup. It was hard to attach the servo motor and hard to close the gate when there were so many food loads. I use a tiny stick to hold it still, but if the servo motor is not able to close the gate, there are no ways to notify users. The other limitation is to refill the food in the container. Even though the app tells you the remaining food level, there is no way of refilling the food automatically. This means the application needs some form of human interaction. It's not autonomous. I completed everything that I planned for this project, but I want to add more additional features to project in the future. I want to do the same setup for the water, calculate the food percentage in pet's food bowl. When the food bowl is running out of food, the servo motor will automatically run and pours the food, and set a timer for servo motor to run specific time zones. Thank you for listening.